My great passions is snowboarding. So we're going to start out with the history of snowboarding. The history of snowboarding kind of originated in the 1920s. People were always like cutting pieces of wood up and kind of standing on them and sledding down hills. It wasn't really anything quite like the modern day snowboard. So in 1965, Sherman Poppin created this thing called a snurfer, which is a lot like a snowboard, but still kind of the prototype. Didn't really have a binding, but you still stood on it and went downhill. In 1970s, a guy named Jake Burton, who rode the snurfer, decided he'd make a better version of it. So he's had a Burton snowboard today, a very popular snowboard brand. And he made it a lot better and was more successful in competitions. So the guy on the right is Jake Burton, and you can see how his is a little bit different than the original snurfer, which is on the left. And so, yeah. So the more modern type boards today are made out of fiberglass and wood, so they're not like the earlier ones. The camber board is bent up kind of like a bridge, so it's better for compresses, so it's an easier landing. Next kind of board, there's a picture of it. The next kind of board is a rocker board, and it's bent down, unlike the camber board. So it's more of a freestyle type riding, rails, jibs, kind of easier turns, more compressed snow, not powder, but it's still good for powder because it's bent up in the front, so it's easier to float. And that's kind of the stuff that you could see most people were using a rocker board for. Another type of board is a hybrid board. It's a mix, obviously, the camber and rocker board. So it's kind of wavy, and it's for all mountain board. It's not going to excel at anything amazingly, but it's still going to be good at everything you need to do. So it's kind of just preference on what you want to do. All kind of riders use different boards. There's not one that they all use. That's the board I use. I use a K2 Turbo Dream, and it's a rocker, so that's what I use. Major competitions in snowboarding are the Olympics and X Games. The Olympics just gives you credibility because you're supporting your country and you're doing something for it. Most famous Olympic snowboarder would have to be Shaun White. Snowboarding came to the Olympics in 1998, and they have 3 events: the half pipe, snow cross, and slalom. And they have all those women's too, so 6 total. And then the X Games beat the Olympics by a year in 1997. And you get recognized by sponsors for winning these types of events too. The place I enjoy skiing the most is Steamboat Springs, Colorado. The snow is great. Unlike here in Texas, the snow is wet, so you can compress it together and make like a snowball. But the snow there, if you try to make a snowball, it's just going to fall apart in your hands like powder. And the ski resort there is good for beginners, intermediates, and experts. Good for anything. Whereas if you go to somewhere like Taos, it's going to be more of a expert mountain. It's a lot harder terrain. So it's good to look where you're going to go ski first before you just go somewhere. Those are just pictures of me skiing. And snowboarding is a great passion for me because it just gets you away from the world and you just kind of relax. It's not really much of a sport to me. It's like a hobby and thing that I enjoy doing the most. This passion has created me want to go to Colorado Mountain College, which is in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. And the picture on the right just overlooking the mountain. And I want to pursue a snowboarding career in some way, work for a company or something, and that's why it's for me to do. Warren Miller said, if you don't ski today, you'll be 1 older when you do. So that's why you should ski. And that's it. Thank you.